Good day, everyone. Welcome to our online forum discussion on comparative in public administration. Today, we delve into a critical aspect about what's the comparative of legislative in South Africa and Nigeria. My name is Anis Akila, your moderator for today. We have a diverse panel with us today. Before we start our topic, let me introduce our panel for today's forum. Panel 1 is the Nabila Natasha Binti Zakaria, a seasoned researcher who has delved deep into the nexus of comparative in public administration in the University Utara Malaysia. Joining us is Divya Palanisamy as panel 2 and expert in the legislative branch. Next, we have Siti Aisyah binti Shafina, a researcher in University Malaya and expert about South Africa and Nigeria. Last but not least, panel 4, we have Nurul Aina Shahira binti Ibrahim and an analyst about the public administration. Without further ado, let's jump into our discussion. To set the stage, I like to invite Nabila, our researcher, to provide insights into the significance of the general background of South Africa and Nigeria. Welcome.
Thank you, Anis. First of all, the background has three significant, which is economic condition, demographic conditions, and culture. Economics in South Africa is a developed nation with a middle-class population. The nation is rich in minerals, particularly valuable ones like diamonds, platinum, and gold. South Africa has a 20th largest economy in the world because of its highly developed manufacturing sector. According to the Statistics South Africa 2023, this nation is among the richest 50 in the world based on GDP per capita. Nigeria is known to engage in agriculture, and major agriculture products includes peanuts, corn, palm oil, soybean oil, and rice and oil production. The field of tourism in Nigeria is largely based on event activities due to the ethnic diversity in the country and ecotourism. According to the CEIC data, in 2019, Nigeria's estimate nominal gross domestic product GDP value is USD 446.543 billion, is the 27th largest in the world. For the demographics, the population was predicted to be 60 million as of 2021. The people of South Africa are widely recognized for being from many ethnic groupings. The primary ethnic groups in South Africa are colored Asians, white South Africans, and black South Africans. In Nigeria, 54.3% of Nigerians live in cities, and the country is expected to become more urbanized each year at a rate of 3.62%. Nigeria has a very diverse culture because it is home to more than 250 ethnic groups speaking more than 500 languages, as well as a wide range of customs and traditions. The population expected to be divided into three primary religious groups, which is Muslim, Christians, and followers of indigenous religions. Next, culture in South Africa is a tapestry woven from the intricate threads of its diverse history. Indigenous cultures such as Zulu, Xhosa, Sotho, and Tawansna contribute to country ethnic mosaic, each with its own language traditions and spiritual practice for Nigeria. Nigeria's culture background is a dynamic tapestry woven from a complex interplay of indigenous traditions, colonial history, and diverse society comprising over 250 ethnic groups. Each group, including the Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa Fulani, contributes to the nation's vibrant mosaic with distinct language, art forms, and religious practice.
Okay, I see. It's a great idea. Now let's hear from Aina. Aina, could you elaborate more on the political aspect in South Africa and Nigeria in the cooperative of that?
Yes, sure, Anis.
Got
So the political aspect in South Africa have a democracy with a constitution existing in South Africa. Since apartheid ended in 1994, it has become known worldwide as a leader on the African continent and a champion of human rights. The problem of gender-based violence is serious in South Africa. The Constitution of Republic of South Africa is the supreme law of the land. It lays out of the people's rights and obligations, creates the republic legal foundation, and describes the structure of the government. The current constitution is the fifth in the South Africa history, and it was drafted by the parliament, which was selected in the general election of 1994. It replaced the interim constitution of 1993 and was proclaimed by President Nelson Mandela on 18 December 1996 and went into force on 4 February 1997. The first was formed by the South Africa Act 1999, which is the longest lasting constitution to date. Since 1961, the constitution have established a republican form of governance. In Nigeria, the power to perform the responsibility of their various institution of government is granted by the President, the National Assembly, the Federal Court, which include the Supreme Court, acknowledged as Nigeria highest court, and the federal courts themselves. The federal government of Nigeria is made up of three separate branches, which are the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. One of the main purpose of the constitution is to avoid the government from making the same mistake twice by establishing a system of separation and balance of powers among the three branches. Nigeria is a federal republic in that its 36 states have their own governments in addition to the federal government. So the people hold the power, but they elect representatives to carry it out with the president exercising executive authority. In addition to being the head of the state and administration, the president also leads a multi-party system. Nigerian politics are conducted in the federal, presidential, representative, democratic republic, where the government exercises executive authority.
That's a great idea, Aina. Now we need an expert in the legislative branch to give information to the legislative branch in South Africa and Nigeria.
Okay, so about the legislative branch in South Africa and Nigeria, the creation of national legislation is the responsibility of the government's legal department. Legislatures are individuals who form the legislative body in a democratic country where the people elect the country's legislators. A political system that follows the separation of powers model gives the legislative branch of government the power to enact laws, control spending, and manage government revenue, and also allows nominations to the executive and judicial branches. The candidate also selected in the nomination has the responsibility to make, discuss, and decide on the proposed law. So, but the South Africa's parliament is the supreme legislative authority and responsible for making and passing laws. The parliament is bicameral and consisting of two houses, which are the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces. The National Assembly is the lower house of parliament. the members of the National Assembly are elected by the public through a system of proportional representation. The party or coalition with a majority in the National Assembly forms the government and its leader becomes the president of the South Africa. So in Nigeria, the National Assembly is the supreme legislative body and is responsible for making laws for the entire country. It is also bicameral and consisting of two houses, which are the Senate and the House of Representatives. So the Senate is the upper house of the National Assembly. Senators are elected to represent each of the 36 states and one federal capital territory in Nigeria. And it has the power to confirm certain appointments made by the president and must approve certain types of legislation, including constitutional amendments. So the House of Representatives is the lower house of the National Assembly. The members of the House of Representatives are elected to represent the constituencies within each state, and they play a crucial role in the legislative process, which includes the initiation and the passage of bills.
Understood. Now, what about Aisha? What are your thoughts on the structure of South Africa and Nigeria?
Okay, thank you, Anis, for the question. So, the structure in Africa operate on a cooperative federal model. In this system, there is a considerable degrees of cooperation and collaboration between the central government and the provincial government. This cooperation is essential for solving common nation problem, promoting a unified policy, and ensuring the effective functioning of their country as a whole. South Africa is divided into nine provinces, each with its own provincial government. This provincial government have certain power and responsibility, particular in areas such as education, health, transport, and local government. Okay, next, Nigeria operate a cooperative federal model. In cooperative federal, there is a significant level of cooperation and interaction between the central government and the state government. This cooperation is intent to solve common and national problems, support unifying policy, and ensure the effective functioning of the federal as a whole. While states in Nigeria have considerable autonomy in specific areas such as education, health, there is also a need for cooperation between the federal and the state government in addressing issues such as security, economic development, and infrastructure. That's all.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Aisha, for the great information. As I know from the political parties in South Africa, according to the Parliament of South Africa, it have a diverse political landscape with several political parties. But the country political system is primarily characterized by the dominant party, the Congress of African Nationalities (ANC), Democratic Alliance (DA), Economic Freedom Fighters (EFF), the Zulu Nationalist Inkatha Freedom Party known as IVP, and National Freedom Party (NFP), United Democratic Movement (UDM), and the next is the political party is Freedom from Plus (FF Plus). Next is the Congress of the People (COPE), and lastly the Good Party. For the Nigeria, it has a multi-party political system with many political parties. However, the country's political environment is primarily dominated by a few large parties. According to the steers, some of the prominent political parties in Nigeria include All Progressive Congress (APC), and next party is the People's Democratic Party (PDP), and next the Social Democratic Party (SDP), All Progressive Grand Alliance (APGA), and Action Democratic Party (ADP), lastly Nigerian Labour Party (NLP). So, Divya, you are an expert in the legislative branch. Can you spill more about that?
Sure, Anis. Just as how I mentioned just now, so about the comparison of the legislative branch and the structure of South Africa as a bicameral that comprises the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces. The composition in South Africa is the National Assembly, which has 400 members elected through proportional representation, and NCOP has 90 members, with 10 nominated by each of the 9 provinces. Next is about powers and duties in South Africa. The National Assembly leads the primary legislative body, which initiates and considers bills, approves national budget, approves appointments of senior government officials, holds executive accountable through oversight. So for the NCOP, as represents um, interests of two of provinces, reviews and amends bills from the National Assembly, oversees implementation of national policies in province. On the other hand, the relationship with executive in South Africa is that the president is both head of state and head of government, but it's accountable to the National Assembly, which can remove the president from office through a vote of no confidence. So it plays a central role in the country's democratic system, ensuring accountability and representation of the people. For the additional consideration, it has a more complex and decentralized legislative system, with the NCOP representing the interests of provinces. So next about the Nigeria. Nigeria has a bicameral legislature, consisting of two chambers, which are the Senate and the House of Representatives. So these two members make the National Assembly, which is the legislative arm of the Nigerian government. So the Senate is the upper chamber of the National Assembly. Each Nigeria's 36 states is represented by 3 senators, and the Federal Capital Territory is represented by 1 senator, making a total of 109 senators. So the House of Representatives is the lower chamber of the National Assembly. The number of representatives from each state is based on its population. So as a result, more population states have more more representatives. The total number of members in the House of Representatives is 360, and the National Assembly is responsible for making laws, scrutinizing the executive branch, approving budgets, and also performing other legislative functions. So here the legislature plays a very crucial role in the democratic governance of Nigeria. The composition of the Senate is 193 elected from each of the 36 states and one from the Federal Capital Territory. The House of Representatives is 360 members elected from single member constituency. So yeah.
Okay, I see. That's all useful information. Can I ask Nabila what's the issue or current issue that happened in the legislative branch that may affect the country of South Africa?
Sure, Adis. Okay, in South Africa, the party polarization has a multi-party system, and political parties can lead to polarization, making it challenging to reach consensus on critical issues. This polarization can hinder effective legal decision making. Next, corruption and ethics has become a concern in the South African politics, including in the legal branch. Allegations of unethical behavior or corruption among lawmakers can undermine public trust in a political system. Legislative efficiency issues, delays in the legal process, inefficiency and challenge in passing key laws can hinder the government's ability to address pressing issues and implement necessary reforms. Next, issues in social justice and human rights. Balancing the needs for social justice and the protection of human rights with other policy objectives can be complex tasks. Legislators must navigate these issues to create laws that uphold democratic values and protect people's rights.
I see. So, can I ask Aina, what's the issue or current issue happen in the legislative branch that may affect the country of Nigeria?
Kennis, thanks for the question. So, the issue in Nigeria are with oversight and accountability. The legislature oversight function, which involves scrutinizing the executive actions and holding them accountable, has been criticized as weak and ineffective. This is partly due to the lack of adequate resources, expertise, and political will to conduct thorough investigation and hold the executive accountable. The issues of corruption and bribery is a pervasive issue in Nigeria, and the legislature is not immune. Allegations of bribery and influence peddling have tarnished the reputation of the legislative branch, eroding public trust and confidence in its ability to act impartially. The party influence and caucus discipline influence of political parties and rigid the discipline of caucuses often prevent legislators from exercising independent judgment and voting according to their constituents' interests. So this can lead to the passage of legislation that favors partisan interests over the public good. I think that's all.
Okay, so I will conclude this discussion since it seems that everything has been very clear and informative. So, in conclusion, an examination of legislative in South Africa and Nigeria reveal both similarity and difference in their general background, structure, political dynamic. Both countries has introduced a bicameral legislative consisting of upper and lower houses as an integral part of their democratic system. The political landscape of both countries is characterized by this presence of multiple policy parties, which contribute to diverse and dynamic legislative process.
Okay, that's a really good sharing from our panelists. Thank you all for your thoughtful contribution. To summarize, South Africa and Nigeria share the same basic principle of the democratic governance and a bicameral legislative structure. Its difference in party dominance, political landscape, and legislative powers contribute to unique parliamentary dynamics in each country. Understanding this difference is critical to understanding the intricacies of lawmaking and policymaking in the African context. Thank you to our esteemed panelists and our audience for being part of this insightful conversation. Thank you everyone for joining us today.